Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a new hybrid summoners build. Looking behind me, I want to show you guys the adjustment I have before fighting the boss and also preparing for a single target boss fight, and also later we'll be adjusting back to the snipers. So yes, I'm calling this as a hybrid summoner because you have both skeleton summoners and also Vaal guard. Now, firstly, let's have a look at this build in action. So the Vaal guard definitely still does a lot of damage. Initially, when the boss first comes into fight, they have a bit of damage resistance, I believe, but afterwards, let's have a look at our damage. It is very sizable against one of the uber pinnacle bosses in the game. And yes, this is one of the easiest difficulty of the pinnacle boss, but this boss is still quite difficult for most of us, even for me. I did die once or twice before this boss, so this is a successful run. What I wanted to show you guys is how much damage we can deal, and we are quite durable against the boss. The summoners are usually one of the better classes against the boss because we're built for durability and also single target damage. Our mobility is not the best, but our success against the boss is great, and that was one of the pinnacle boss fight. That was pretty good. I was very happy to be able to defeat him. So, what I mean by hybrid is, looking over here, you can see that I have a number of summon units, actually a lot of summon units because of the support gem we're using, and that was the build I was theory crafting yesterday, finally got it working. I can switch from the Vaal guard into the skeleton snipers for mapping, and then switch back for the boss fight. So this means I have two utilities and also arsenals or choices of the build to my desire, and I can change any time in the fight. And yes, this does require you to have two main carries of the DPS gems, but it is not bad for me at the moment. We'll go through the drawbacks, but let's have a look at the fight in action. This is a tier 13 map with level 76 monsters, and I just want to show you guys the demonstration. Now, this is not the super juiced up map, of course, but the build is successful. Yesterday I was playing tier 5 maps, and today I'm doing tier 13 maps and also doing pinnacle bosses. So there's a massive leap from yesterday to today, and my level is still quite low. Haven't done my final ascension yet, but you can see we are very durable. With Mind Over Matter, most of my life is not lost. Only lost when I cast spells because there's a skill that uses life. But you can see majority of the time my mana is maxed, and mana is also life for me because of Mind Over Matter. So we take damage on mana first, then comes to life. So what you're seeing over here is I have 19 skeleton snipers instead of the Vaal guard. Due to popular requests and myself included, the people who party with me when I play Vaal guard cannot handle the extended CPU and also graphics card usage, and it overheats both my computer and also my friends' computer. So I do want to switch out of Vaal guard whenever I can, but the Vaal guard is still very powerful summon units in the game. So what I decided to do is, during normal mapping and even against, tier 13, tier 15 maps, I'm still using the skeleton snipers over the Vaal guard. But if I do go to the pinnacle boss fight, I still come back to the Vaal guard because they just deal a little higher damage. I'm in the process of transitioning fully into snipers, so at the moment I'm using the best of both worlds. The snipers have insanely fast attack speed and they have a very long reach. You can see that unlike the Vaal guard, that we have to wait a few seconds before they kill the enemies because of the grenade delays, the snipers would pretty much one-shot enemies on the field. And with 19 snipers, it is very fast. And I'm giving them additional 5 damage buff as they shoot through the flame wall. So basically we have a horde of army, including mages, including specters, mages, skeleton mages, and also skeleton priests, skeleton warriors, hound, and also snipers. You can see this is like a massive army of summon units over here, and we have so much utility and so much versatility. I am still in the process of improving this build, but I'm liking the direction. I can definitely get tankier and also having even higher DPS as I'm going to try new things out tomorrow. So, fast forward a little bit, you can see majority of the fight, we don't have any problems. And I can stand in the very front of my team because I'm recovering so much mana. I'm a super tank 80-90% of the time. Sometimes we are still weak to the magic or mana siphon erase. Those are the counters, the bane kryptonite of my build. Because we run a mana build, if they suck away your mana, well, you're in trouble. But most of the time, if you be careful with your mana, you have both health potion and also mana potion against the harder difficulty of the content. And the snipers are wonderful. So This particular replay will be available for you guys to both show you the hybrid of the build, and you can see at the start of the boss fight, I simply changed back to Vanguard, because after testing, the snipers are decent, but the Vanguard seems to be doing a bit more damage for me against the boss. But later on, I may be keeping the snipers even for the boss. We'll talk about that in the future adjustments. Now, over to my character. There's a number of things I want to share with you guys. I have gotten 6 links to both the Vanguard and also the snipers. And you can see most of the other supporting gems or the other gems have 5 linked. 4 socket. It's hard to say because PoE and PoE 1, PoE 2 have different wording. This is a 5 link or this is a 4 socket. Now, over here, I have prepared a number of trait filters. As usual, once I upgrade my gears, I want to show you guys what have I changed, and should you want to look for those gears, you can come over to see what I've searched. And over here, there's also a change a bit of the new legacy, this new special gems. Some of those gems are quite cheap, some of those gems can be a little more expensive, but they are quite interesting. I'll talk to you through you guys as well, and I'll even change the amulet to adjust for even stronger snipers. And of course, I've changed the amulets and also a few things. So what do we do is, now let's come over to the actual changes. Let's have a look. Now, what we'll do is, let's start with the skills, because I mentioned I used a bit of the special gems that was introduced this week. So once you see those particular looking like a legacy or unique gems that is available, I'll try to quote the price to you guys, because the price can change in the future. Just be aware, making this video, this is the current price about 3 days out of the new season, but later on the price is likely going to go down a little bit as people get more of those gems. Currently my hound has 3 or 4 sockets. Once I get to level 90, I think I'll get a final socket, but that is okay. I just wanted this one because the Bird's Brain over here, this pretty much allows my hound to become invulnerable. I don't plan to deal damage with the hound. In the past I was using the mid shield too, and now replacing this one, I now have full damage reduction, so the hound is always alive. And this one cost me about close to 1 divine to buy this particular gem. Keep in mind that is a very high price at the moment. To follow from that, I'm still using royalty, so the hound kind of takes my damage and I don't mind the loss of life because the hound is invulnerable, pretty much from the description of this gem. And follow from that, this hound will allow us to spread the ignite, and once the hound ignites, it will lower the enemy's fire resistance through the fire exposure, which is very good. In terms of the skeleton warriors, I did get an upgrade over here into a +4 skeleton warrior skill, and the rest is pretty straightforward. So we'll talk about the weapons after. Now, of course, it is possible for me to use this particular unique gem for all of my skeleton minions to keep them alive, but it will cost too much of the amount of gold, I believe. So, and also, I think it may be a limitation of how many you can use. I'm not 100% sure, but I only kept 1 for now because I didn't want to invest too much. So for most of the other minions that I want to keep alive, I'm still using mid shield. Over here, the skeleton warriors will be sacrificed through my ritual, so this is always targeted by the ritual with sacrifice, and here we have essence harvest and also death march. So essence harvest gives us mana once this one dies, the unit dies, and death march allows us to kind of heal and also reset the debuff on the minions and kind of like give us a refresh. So those are the passives on the weapons, and here in terms of elemental weakness, the curses that give us fire elemental damage bonus or lower enemies resistance, we have Curse Ground followed by Efficiency, mana cost reduction, and started to use Magnify Effect or Magnify Area and also Hiding Curse. So this gives me a little delay, and there's a massive circle that I can put under the boss for bonus fire damage. In terms of the bone offering, I used to use live tap, but it's not a big deal to use live tap or not, so I can take it off. So bone offering is the second offering I use to give us bonus damage. The reason I'm using bone offering is coming from this passive over here, and this passive gives us the 50% increased minion damage. It is not a massive multiplier because it's an increased damage, not a more damage. So here we have efficiency, we have prolonged duration, and also minion mastery just for a little level. I actually only needed 2 sockets over here. And the bigger damage amplification is coming from pen offering. So pen offering has prolonged duration, dense macabre, efficiency, and also sacrificial offering. The Sacrificing Offering is what costs me life when casting this particular spell. So what I want to show you guys over here is, maybe I should turn the chats off. Yes, that's much better. Apologize for that. So what I want to show you guys over here is if I cast the offerings, notice I lose life. So you have to be a little careful. If you spam offerings and you don't hit the right thing, you lose too much life. But this does give this offering a lot of bonus damage to your minions. Now, you might have noticed I've added a lot more summons. Remember in the previous video, I wanted to fully take advantage of this particular support gem called Mastered. For each of the persistent minions on the field you're summoning, you will gain 7% more damage, which is a multiplier, which is very good. So look how many minions I have. We have the Hound, we have the Skeleton Warriors, Mages, we have the Spectres, we have the Snipers, finally we have the Cleric. So a lot of times 7% more damage. So the Vaal Guard and also the Skeleton Snipers are the centerpiece over here. The Vaal Guard has some really tedious graphics card animations. Even though they're very powerful, the downside for me is they don't attack instantly. They're quite slow. They grenade triggers after 1 or 2 seconds. But in mapping, I want things to die instantly. So I prefer to use Skeleton Snipers during mapping. They're putting the exact same gems, just ordered differently. So they have Feeding Frenzy, they have Mastered, they have Rapid Attacks, they have Multi-Shot, and here we have Fire Achievement. Oh yes, there's a difference. I stopped using the Multi-Shot or Multi-Shot tool on the Snipers because they didn't need that. They wanted more damage. So you can see the Vaal Guard setup over here, and the Vaal Guard setup is actually quite good against boss, but other times if I want to use the snipers, I just skip one Vaal Guard. In terms of the snipers, we have halved over the multi-shot too. I've tried multi-shot on both, it just seems too overwhelming, and the damage reduction is actually pretty massive. Having halved gives us bonus both physical damage, and also the additional damage will scale towards a bonus fire damage, which is very good. So halved give us tons of bonus damage, together with Fire Achievement, together with Feeding Frenzy, Rapid Attacks, and also Mastered. Just to show you guys the stats over here, you can see this is about 16,000 for each of the snipers. We currently can run 19 of those, which I'll show you why. And here, if I take this off, you can see this is 13,000. So halved give us some pretty hefty damage, and pounds intended. So yeah, 16,000, sometimes they get more. This is a bit of strange calculation here as I move around. So I can maximize all the snipers all the way up to 19 and keep one Vaal Guard. This is when I do normal mapping. But when I have trouble with some really difficult bosses, what I found easier is I actually can enjoy the Vaal Guard. And that gives me 10 Vaal Guard while the snipers over here. So, and 2 snipers. So this is actually really fun for the hybrid summoners. Depending on the situation, if I'm fighting a really strong boss, I want to win, right? I don't care about the graphics card. But if I'm just mapping, the delay and also the graphics card, the overheating of my computer, I actually prefer the snipers. And the snipers are level 31, look at that. And the Vaal Guard is level 26. And Vaal Guard still does higher damage than the snipers for me against the Pinko boss. Finally, we have the Skeleton Cleric. The Skeleton Cleric is here because it costs very minimal. It costs 13 spirit after all the spirit reservation reduction we have, which I'll go through with you guys. And the Skeleton Cleric has Mid Shield, it has Rapid Casting, which allows it to revive. You also have this new Legacy unique gem or special gem, which keep it alive when it dies for 10 seconds and have even faster casting speed to revive your other minions. And finally, when it dies, you will heal other minions. So it's more of a utility. It also gives us 7% more damage because of this support. So I now am a fully master of summons. We have tons of variety of units, and depending on the situations, we can summon and also resummon your minions. Most of the time I keep my snipers. So how do we get to level 31 on the snipers? Firstly, the scepter, I bought this one for 3 divine. It's kind of like a price has been falling down. I've been monitoring those. So I sold my one for 1 divine and also bought this one for 3 divine. It was 4 divine, I think. I tried to see if I can get a bargain, and the seller was a bit nice. It's not the strongest because, it's got elemental resistance, but it actually helps me to get my 75% over here. So this is +4 over here. The helmet we have talked about in the previous video. And this helmet, I've actually got an upgrade. My previous helmet, I've actually sold it for... Did I actually sell it? So let me have a look. I think I sold my previous helmet here. I'm trying to sell it for 3 divine, probably too much. I'll put it to divine. And yes, I'll teach you guys how to make currencies soon. I'll be making quite a bit of good currencies as I make my videos and also as I test my build. So the new helmet cost me, how much is that? I think this is not cheap. This is like 5 or 6 divine because I wanted a socket. Let's have a look at the gem that is socketed or the talisman that is socketed. This is the biggest change. This particular talisman cost me about 1 divine plus, and this is a quite expensive talisman, but it provides me with 6% increased reservation of minion skills. This means my minion cost over here, the spirit reservation, is further reduced by 6%. So it's similar to this particular passive. This is a 12% reservation efficiency. This is a 6%. So one socket over here is 6%, which is quite good, especially for the late game. But be aware, it is a little costly. After that, I also have upgraded my boots. The previous boot, I think the previous boots were sold. So the previous boot sold for 2 divine. I bought it for 1 divine. And the new boots is about 6 to 7 divine because it is a max roll at 30%, which allows me to reduce the cost of all my minions and to have the affordability to round the rest of the minions. This is how you can see I have a whole horde of minions. Not only I have bonus spirit, I have about 450 spirit. I also have tons of reduction to minion cost of spirit. So the helmet socketing and also the boots at the centerpiece over here that reduce the cost of my minions. And this means I can summon so many more. And then I can have a full army. So we have talked about the gamblers, vendors gamblers. Make sure you watch the previous video. I basically went for 1 negative resistance on each of those, and both of them have really high spirits, and the negative resistance actually balance themselves out. This is a high spirit chest with implicit 21 spirit and also additional 54 spirit and some good life. Now, nothing has changed on the gloves. I kept the belt. I think I kept the shield. Nothing has really changed, but I did change the amulet. Our previous amulet was a +2 minion skill, while this particular fire flower amulet is a +5 to all fire skills. So why is that? Because I want to make the skeleton sniper stronger. The Vaal guard are great, but the sniper is a little weaker without higher levels. So the previous ones, let me show you guys over here. The previous amulets, I started to look for +3. Notice the +3 amulets are ridiculously expensive. I was using a +2 amulet that I later sold for 2 divine. I had a +2 amulet, +2 to minion skills, and also + spirit. I bought that for 1 divine, and I used it till now. But I remember my friend told me that the Fireflower Solar Unique Amulet comes with +4 to fire skills. I was lucky enough to get a corrupted version that came with +5 to the minion skills. Notice it rose from 1 to 4, and this one has +5 to all fire skills. You might be thinking, you don't do many fire skills, right? Well, we have a lot of our fire skills like Flame Wars, Raging Spirits, and here we have the Elemental Weakness is also a fire spell. Together with the Summoning Hellhound is also a fire spell. So this one is level 31 too. So a lot of our skills actually scales with fire, especially the Skeleton Snipers. They're also a fire spell. So the +5 goes into the level of the Skeleton Snipers. Now, unfortunately, the fire spell does not consider for the Vaal guard. This is just a minion. So it doesn't enjoy the +5. That's why it's only 26 levels. I would say this is more of a niche selection because I did spend 4 divines to buy this one. I think the price might even go up further after this video, and it's harder to get it to +5 because people have the velvet. I didn't try it myself because I didn't want to buy those on velvet. I actually bought a readily velvet one. Now, normal cases, you just go for the amulet, and the endgame amulet most minion builds want is a +3 together with spirit and also some good stats, but you can see those are quite expensive. And I think this is the biggest upgrade. This really allows my skeleton snipers to do some pretty hefty damage, and this allows me to clear mapping tier 13 and also tier 15 quicker compared to using Vaal guard, because Snipers are naturally weaker than Vanguard, but the Vanguard is a bit slower and also destroys my graphics card and also overheats my computer. Now, I haven't changed the potion. I've changed this potion so I have instant recovery but I don't lose life anymore. And I've changed the charms. So each of the charms I prefer to have additional guard when it is triggered. And also chance to kill enemies gives me charges. So I also have those links for you guys if you want to search for the charms I'm looking at. And where are they? Okay, wait, oh, here are the charms. So the charms I was looking at, if you want to search and see the filters, this will be available for you. And those are my basic filters. I bought them for about 3 to 5 Exalt or 1 to 3 Chaos. Not the worst. And I also kept this unique charm because this helped me to recoup a bit of life and also mana. Now, quite a bit to go through, but almost there. So I have did some work and maxed my passive tree. And you can see I still have 3 ascensions. I haven't had my final ascension, and I think for final ascensions I might go for the additional life pen mana because I'm going with the Mind Over Matter, or I might just go for the 2 points just for the life. I haven't decided. So we went over here for additional mana and also additional minion damage. We went here for more minion damage. When I take damage, my minions deal more damage. We got here for more mana. We got over here for the mana on kill. And here I went for more socketing. So this means I can sustain myself more when gaining mana on kill. So one socketing over here. One socketing over here. I taken a point out of over here because I kind of don't need my minion to revive faster. I don't think they're dying that badly. And the only points that was good here was this point. And the 8% attack speed for like 10 points wasn't worth it. So I took this section out and I went on top to this section. I got additional mana. And here we got more intelligence. It's very good because I needed the intelligence to balance everything for the higher rank of the skills for the summoning units. And I also got another Jew socketing, which gave us even more minion damage, mana on kill, and also additional stats. Other than that, over here, I still kept this side. It's not a big deal. I just summon a little more, Raging Spirits. And over here as well. Oh, I did mention, did I forget the Raging Spirits? So the Raging Spirits I've adjusted a little bit. The Raging Spirits now have rapid attack, it has armor break, you also have the calling strike and also main. So it's a utility unit now. It's here to do a lot of debuffs, chance to, to take down the unique and also rare monsters by using calling strike, and finally breaking the armor and also hitting very fast. Hello. So, in terms of the hybrid, I'm sure you guys will wonder what do I mean by hybrid. I think you know. So against mono fights, I'm just summoning my firewalls. This is a skill rotation, right? And when I see enemies in front, I'll cast the rituals behind me. And this gives my minion tons of damage boost, which I'll show you guys over here. So, have a look at the damage on the snipers. It's on 16,000, but once I cast my rituals, it goes on to 28,000, so quite hefty damage bonus, so always keep this on. And for stronger rares and also bosses, I just put this on the floor, and it's a massive radius. And that's the rotation. But against units that are having trouble with the snipers, I'll quickly adjust this as you saw in the replay, and then this allows me to, have a different set of DPS. The Vanguard actually deals some hefty damage, and the AoE radius of blasting through the multi-shot is actually pretty sizable. So this is what I mean by hybrid summoner. And you can see, hybrid summoner. I do plan to look for some interesting specters to enhance the attack speed, movement speed, and also overall auras for the whole team. And that will be in the future testings for you guys. But I quite like this current setup. I feel faster in terms of mapping, a more solid, speedy build, and also ability to do pinnacle bosses. And that is the biggest part for me. So everything will be updated on the links below, and I think I might make a separate one because this is the sniper one, but we'll have a look. You can see the links below for the previous setup and also the latest setup with all the change of gears and also the skill links. And what I do now is, same as before, this particular replay will be available for you guys should you want to have a look at against the boss, and also in terms of mapping for tier 13 map. Now, do keep in mind, I did not succeed the first time against the pinnacle boss. I actually died a few times. There was one time the laser was directly on the safe spot. Either roll into the safe spot and die, or don't go into the safe spot and die. Yeah, the boss is pretty difficult, but if it's the first time you fight the boss, you almost have infinite revives, which is very good. I realized there was any limitations. I can die as many times to learn the mechanics of the pinnacle boss. Very good change from the developers, I have to say. And it was quite exciting playing the boss. One of the biggest highlights for the build is we do enough damage that sometimes you can skip those difficult mechanics. And in this particular successful run, I skipped all the lasers, the dodgers, the lines, the projectiles. The boss didn't get to cast those, and I was able to defeat the boss before that. And that was very lucky, because those were quite difficult mechanics. So the DPS is definitely pretty decent for the current setup. And I do plan to adjust this a little further for you guys and also update it in the future videos. Now, hopefully you guys found today's video helpful. Again, a big thank you to everyone on YouTube, especially our supporters and also those of you guys who's been supporting me on Patreon as well. And we do have a new feature on the Majestic YouTube channel. If you click onto this, you can become a member. Yes, I've added this just recently, and this will allow you to have early access to videos that is posted a few hours or even half a day earlier if you want to watch those videos a little early. But yes, this will cost money. So please be aware the membership will cost money. And if you do want to watch videos normally, those videos will still be available after 6 to 12 hours, normally on the time we post those videos. And I'll be aiming to post at least one Path of Exile video a day. And this will be including guides, tips, news update, and also the latest tricks that is discovered on both the English and also Chinese community to keep you guys updated. And if you like those videos, make sure you leave a nice comment and also leave a like for those videos.
Fourth edict already burns for your world. Behold, the burning horizon. Endless ravaging pain. Her only salvation is written in ash.
Left for me to conquer.
Now before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is gonna be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.